Come on, let's get it warmed up. It's nice and blowy, nice and breezy. This is perfect barbecue conditions for these chefs. So my name's Sam. I'm from Hagfire Barbecue. I've been coming to Metopia since 2016, and you'd usually find us on the quay there, usually like absolutely frying in the midday sun. So often we're more cooked than our barbecue by the end of it. And so this year, they've invited me to host. I don't know, for some reason they think that I have charming wit, great bants, and I'm going to try and stay relatively sober till the end of the day, depending on how much beers come our way. So yes, you are at Metopia. This is the big day. This is the Saturday. This is the cutting room stage. And on this stage, you'll see international chefs of all flavors cooking incredible things. So we started the day with a barrel being charred for Jameson Black Barrel, which was super interesting. And then we thanked our sponsors. So you can see at the front here, we've got some wonderful charcoal. This is Whittle and Flame. Whittle and Flame is British artisan charcoal. It's extremely high quality, extremely sustainable, and is responsible for some regenerative maintenance and care of woodlands. So, and you can buy that from the House of Charcoal. Wonderful, wonderful website where you can nerd out and buy single species of charcoal if you want, or you could just buy some really good quality Whittle and Flame. Our other stage sponsor is the wonderful George from Black Box. He's got a little shop just in there on the quayside. He's given us this lovely monolith to play with, and he's invented this himself. This is called an Escua barbecue, and it's basically a parrilla, which is pretty awesome. I've got one of these, and they're lovely to cook on. So those are the guys that are making this stage work for us, giving us great kit to cook on, and giving these chefs like a fantastic range of beautiful charcoal and beautiful kit. And also, we always say, like, if you care about what you're cooking on your barbecue, you should care about what you're cooking over. So always buy British charcoal if you can. It's a really important part. Yes, so the next chef, we're going to start bringing some sunshine. We could do with a bit of sunshine, couldn't we? So we've got a wonderful Caribbean British chef, Marie Mitchell, to welcome to the stage. Marie is an author, she's a writer, she's a chef, and she's from London. So we've got a local girl now coming onto the stage. So can you give me a big Metopia round of applause for Marie Mitchell, the Caribbean queen? Da, 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 da. I'm trying to bring the sun. Can we get a shimmy?
A shimmy. I used to be a dancer many years ago.
Did you?
Yeah,
I didn't. Can you tell? Okay, Marie, I'm excited and thrilled that you're here. I've been wanting to meet you for ages.
Aww.
I mean, I think so Marie you started off with the Island Social down in Brixton, sell out all the time. Is that right?
Actually in Haggerston.
Don't get
East London, it was East London.
The wrong side of the river then.
Yeah.
Wrong side of the river.
I grew up in South though, so actually there's no shade.
There's no shade.
Who went woo?
Someone.
Yes!
There we go. So first of all, let's talk about what you're going to cook for us today.
So it's Reef chicken. It's from my debut cookbook that came out in June.
Woo!
Yay! It's a combination of rum, molasses, sugar, loads of spices and lime juice, and I marinate it for about 24 hours so the chicken just gets all that flavour and really tender. We're going to cook some indirect to start off with and some direct so we can just see the different process of how they end up.
I love it. You're even flexing on the barbecue. Yeah, we're going to go indirect. So indirect is like, does everybody understand what indirect cooking means? So we're going to cook on where half the barbecue is set up for directly over the charcoals. The other one has a deflector plate. So that means you can get loads of flavour and all the heat in the chicken without it burning. So we're going to do, so am I positioned over there on the open,
You're doing the
dangerous part where I might burn it? Okay, great.
I had a long day
and you get
yesterday,
the cushy
here,
one
so.
there, is it? Okay, if you want to pop some on there first of all, and then I'll take it off you.
Thank you.
So Kin, your first cookbook.
My first cookbook.
And it was out in June?
It came out June 6th. Really, really ecstatically happy with how it's gone.
And why did you call it Kin?
It kind of became a bit of a legacy project, but it had the name sort of before. I lost my brother 15 years ago, and then just after I got the deal, I lost my mum. And my work is very much around community, kinship. I feel like the Caribbean, because it's a Caribbean cookbook, is very much about we're related to each other, but we're our own kind of individual people.
And was food just a massive part of your household growing up, especially
Always.
with your brother and your mother?
Yeah, to be honest, my mum, she was a really good cook, but she absolutely hated it. But my dad and my nan were probably like my early inspirations, because I used to bake with my nan, and then my dad would do like the most delicious Sunday dinners.
Come on, what was on the menu for Sunday dinner?
Well, I basically didn't realise that if you didn't have rice and peas and like hard food, which is like root vegetables that you get in the Caribbean, if that didn't feature, I was confused. The first time I went somewhere else at like 9, and it was just, I don't know, vegetables.
You had some
meat.
ropey old bland piece of overcooked meat and some boiled
some
carrots.
people do spice their food, but there was definitely a little bit of a difference there. So like that was basically Sundays, and that was the one day of the week that my dad was always at home, and it was just so, it was kind of integral for building this sense of community and togetherness, which I'm sure a lot of you can all relate to. And I suppose that, and then having summer holidays, we were split between like family, different aunts and uncles would take time off and you'd rotate, became this like thing of just spending time together, and it always kind of being centered around food, which is so integral to Caribbean culture as well.
Yeah, I think so. So what's the main day that you all get together? Do you always eat together, or is it just like because everybody's busy, you know, would you get together on a particular day?
It would like, normally on the weekends, a Saturday, everyone would kind of congregate at my nan's house in Earlsfield. But during the summer, we would always do like this big thing around the bank holiday as well. And each year it kind of became other families from the community that my parents grew up with. And it became this massive thing. It would all play like a game of rounders at the end, and everyone would bring...
A game of rounders?
Yeah.
After all that rice and peas, goodness me.
Before.
That's some fortitude there.
Yeah, you work up the hunger. And it was just like, it was amazing, because I just sort of grew up with loads of other kids that were like my age, and then you just built this sense, you understood how important communities are. I think that's why for me, which I think a lot of people do when they work in food, ultimately you want to feed people and you want to build stuff, and that was the fundamental reason why, in which I kind of wanted to do it, because it was a chance to build an extension outside of my family.
So was that the inspiration for the Island Social Club as well?
Yeah, which is like why it was called a social club, because it was... Yeah. I think a lot of Caribbean spaces can either be very high end, or you kind of get these like takeaway joints where they're sort of mean to you. You sort of go in, you're like, can I order this please? And it's like, no, we don't have this today.
I've been to a few Caribbean places where I just have what they tell me to have. I'm very intimidated. If that's all you got left, I'll take it. I'll play double.
I definitely love it, but it's one of those like things where you just kind of know that that's what you're getting.
Yeah.
And what was really nice about ISC was that it was kind of this middle ground where you could go, you could hang out, you could have really delicious food, great cocktails, because it was very rum-centred.
Yeah. And how long ago, because you don't do the Island Social anymore.
I don't know.
How long ago was it?
We started 2017 and then finished up in 2020.
Did anybody get to go? I mean, it sounds fun. It sounds like a vibe.
I'm sad for you all, because there's lots of roti. That's basically the thing that I'm sort of known for, is like making roti, which I did yesterday.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Bus up shut roti. So it's like a paratha.
Yes, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So it's all flaky.
Yeah.
And then what would you have on it?
I would always do different curries, which are in my book as well. But one of my favourite ones is like, it's called Colombo, and it kind of comes via India, well, basically from Sri Lanka via India to the Caribbean. So there's like really delicious like mustard seeds and coconut milk, and
so you're almost like because one of my absolute passions about cooking is when you can trace the migration of ingredients, you know, and then how like a culture will just pick up
and
different ingredients along the way and just start to make it their own. Yeah. So mustard seeds, I mean, that's a surprise to me. I wouldn't have thought of mustard seeds in Caribbean cooking.
Yeah, I think this is why I wanted to write the book. There's amazing Caribbean chefs that are doing incredible things. I think one of the things that we just haven't kind of had yet, though, is like just enough people knowing enough about the Caribbean. It's so much more vast and varied and nuanced than people realise. Jerk chicken is wicked. That is definitely specifically Jamaican, which is my heritage. But actually, there's so much more, and a lot of the time people just don't realise that.
Like what? Give us a surprising dish that would blow our minds.
I mean, I think a lot of people just assume that Caribbean food is meat. Obviously, we're at Meatopia, so no shade. But it's like we actually have a lot of vegetarian and vegan food. Like, we're known for...
Did somebody boo vegetarian and vegan food then? I heard something. Like, none of you admitting to that, are you? Was that, oh, this guy? Like you got outed then. Like people sat behind you. So there's a lot of vegetarian cooking, and you're right, because I think like the classic jerk chicken is always sort of in our minds.
In our minds, yeah.
But there's way more to it than that.
Yeah, and that's specifically Jamaican. It's not actually Caribbean, and you will probably find like you'll always find a little jerk cut somewhere in the Caribbean. Like we shot some of my book in Grenada, and there was like a little spot that was like amazing.
Hang on, you shot some of your cookbook in Grenada? I shot my cookbook in the back end of a farm in Monmouth. Hang on, who's your publisher? No one takes notes.
I can't lie, I definitely was like, this is life presently. Yeah,
so can I ask you, what made you want to write a book? You know, I mean, were all these recipes in you and you just wanted to share them with us?
They were, but like, obviously I'm talking about it from my perspective, but it's more than a cookbook. It's very much a story and it's a journey. Like selfishly, I got into this because I wanted to learn more about the Caribbean. I didn't know enough, and I still don't. So it's I'm taking people on the journey that I'm specifically on.
Yeah.
And that book is centered around that, and there's lots of stories and essays, which you can choose not to read, but it really kind of leans into understanding the context of the Caribbean more, as well as really delicious recipes.
Because you're British born, right? So there's like this whole side of you that you wanted to explore for yourself. Because I think sometimes we can do things and we're just doing them. You know, this is the food that I cook from my home.
Yeah.
But really to get under the bonnet of those ingredients and how it came about and explore that it's like an episode of Who Do They Think You Are?
Exactly.
Isn't it? So you can explore that through a book.
And I think the thread of it, because I've just informally started the second book as well. Yeah. It's not coming out anytime soon though.
Oh, right, okay, you're writing it though.
I like my life.
It's coming. Like, take it easy, nice and slow. That's what we need.
But it's I did a like ancestry test because I knew that my heritage was mixed.
Did you do one of those?
Yeah.
I did one.
Yeah.
Turns out I'm 70% Welsh. I mean, I'm happy, but I'm Devo at the same time. I really wanted to be like part Nigerian. You know what I mean? I wanted some flavour in me.
I mean, actually, you did it, so you do know. Yeah.
So, how did your ancestry come out?
I mean, we know that colonization happened, so I've got West African, varied places, but I've also got Scottish. Right. We've got Indian in my family, Syrian. So I kind of knew this sort of anyway, but then kind of seeing that kind of down, I was just like, okay, I really want to understand like how people moved, who came, when they came, and
it's fascinating.
That's definitely something I'm exploring more in a deeper way in the next book, which I've saw. Yeah.
Really interesting. So you're really going to start to track back and start to trace breaking it down. But that's, I mean, like I said, so Shauna and I, this Shauna, by the way, she's here eventually. Hi, Shauna. Hi. Woo! Yeah, Shauna's been to a Taylor Swift V&A thing. With her niece, yeah. But I mean, I think so. We specialize in Southern American cooking, and in particular Louisiana. And just one of the things I find really fascinating is just how the colonization, like French, Spanish, African, how it's influenced the food. You know, and
hugely.
I mean, America wouldn't have had rice if the slave trade didn't bring it over. They wouldn't have had black-eyed beans, okra. There'd have been no Spanish without the. So in terms of those things aren't to be celebrated, the reason why they have those ingredients, how those ingredients evolved into a whole, now indigenous food culture is fascinating.
It is, yeah. And that's why I sort of feel very lucky and privileged that this gets to be what I do for a living.
I was going to say, I got taken away, but how's your chicken doing? Does your chicken need some flipping?
I think it does need, so I might need to borrow it. It's looking pretty sexy, though.
Yeah, mine's looking really good. I mean, it's not a competition,
I mean,
really,
it's
but
not.
Mine's looking really, really
it's
good.
Not. Oh, I mean, decent.
Let's have a look. Oh, look at that. That looks beautiful. All right, yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Like I say, it's not a competition. That does look better than mine.
Never.
So Marie, where can we get your book from? I mean, is it widely available?
All good retailers. But let's support independent bookshops, people.
Independent
Saying,
bookshops,
no comment,
yes.
but we should.
There's a certain Mr. Bezos doesn't need our money to buy any more phallic-shaped rockets, does he? So supporting independent bookshop is the way to go.
Keep them alive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so, like, do you have a favourite recipe from your cookbook?
Do you know what? Probably the
so
Colombo.
if I was going to buy it and I was going to cook one recipe, the what?
The Colombo chicken
Colombo.
curry. Yeah. It's just like you can make it hotter. You don't have to have Scotch bonnet in it, but if you like a bit of heat, it's delicious. And it's just, I think it's just a really beautiful example of all these different influences coming together in a dish, and it then just being absolutely fucking delicious.
I love that.
Sorry, I do have a bit of a potty mouth.
No, I'm loving it. And then are you still doing supper clubs?
Supper clubs,
can we catch you?
Events, yes, you can. Yeah,
And then where will we find you? How do I find you online?
Marie_Mitchell_. I'm only on Instagram. I don't like social media.
Yeah, you're only on Instagram. And I like the way you're so fancy. You've got a double underscore. Like, one isn't enough. I'm just going to put one on the end.
It's probably because there's too many Marie Mitchells.
Yeah, that
in the
other
world.
Marie Mitchell, she'll never guess. Totally separate you.
Yeah.
And so, like, in South London, North London?
I am based in East now, defected north of the river. Don't tell anyone. Sorry, the South Londoners. So I do a lot in East London, but I do like stuff in South as well, and Central sometimes.
And then what's on the menu, chef, if we come to a supper club?
Ooh, it varies, but like a lot of the time I do the bus up shut roasty because I'm known for it. But I do a very good curry goat, curry lamb.
Lovely.
Yeah. Maybe next year.
A curry lamb. Start to finish. Come on the Friday night. It'll be ready by the time your demo's on the Saturday.
Exactly.
Lovely. I like oxtails.
But no, I actually also do like really good vegan food, and like I know that where we are, but
well, you can tell your vegan friends about this. We've all got
please
one, haven't
do.
we?
But also, I think the big thing is, as a meat eater, if I want to eat veggie food, I don't want it to feel vegan.
Yes.
I want it to be like thought out and delicious.
Yeah.
So I like to kind of convert people to eating stuff as an option, not just the only thing, but like there being a variation. So a lot of the vegetarian recipes.
It's a stuffed pepper free zone on your menu, is it?
It is. Yeah.
My chicken's looking wonderful. And then, is that extra marinade that you brought with you?
Yes, we're going to glaze the skin, and that's some of the marinade with mango chutney.
Right, lovely. Just for extra sweetness?
Yes.
Well, my chicken's looking really good over here. Maybe it's supposed to be black, right?
Yeah,
all the sugar in it?
Definitely. If it's not a little bit, then we haven't done our job properly.
And then, again, we had Kayak Bryn here earlier on. He always carries a thermopen with him, and he's just checking the chicken. And do we have a thermopen? I do, in the top of my bag, in the little zip, and then we can just check. Yeah, I'll do a quick glaze.
There you go, darling.
All right.
Oh, that looks really good.
Oh, thanks. There we go. I'm not sacked yet. So this is just smell. Can you smell it? It's smelling absolutely beautiful. Remind us what's in the marinade again, Marie?
So you've got molasses, sugar, lime juice, rum, dark rum. What else you got in there? You've got white pepper. That's one of my favourite things at the moment. A little bit of black pepper, salt, cloves. And then it smells.
I think it's that lime and that clove, just such a lovely thing. And you've got chicken thighs here.
Yeah, nice
you prefer
and juicy.
Chicken thigh? You're a thigh girl.
I am a thigh girl.
Yeah, and then it just stays nice and juicy, and you've got, and they're very forgiving to cook.
It is, especially when you're cooking over fire.
Yeah, and I just think I want to take my time with it. I want it to get loads of flavour on it.
Yeah.
Right. Do you wanna? You can test yours first. I mean, mine are looking pretty good. Just a few more minutes, I think.
I know, you're like, oh, that's real hot.
Yeah, how's it going there, chef? Looking beautiful.
Yeah, good. I'm just going to turn them over just to get that skin a little bit more.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely wonderful already. Let me take it over here. Somebody know what the internal temperature of chicken should be when it's cooked? Anybody know?
Did you say hot?
You're just like, don't ask me.
Definitely hot.
Ask him. Well, what is it? What do you know it? 64. You're going to have the shits.
Yeah.
74. 74. So you can take it off round about 70 degrees. Your thighs, of course, you can overcook, but you can take it off round about 70 degrees and let it rest.
Yes.
So, yeah, to do 64.
You like to live life dangerously.
Yeah, on the edge. This is a man never more than 5 minutes from a bathroom. It's pasteurized. Well, yeah. I mean, EHO would disagree with you, but listen, we'll play it safe.
Yeah.
We'll play it safe today and
I don't
cook
want
it
to kill any of you. That's basically
the government
my theme
registered
today.
number for cooked chicken. All right.
And then you're also just going to get a little bit of crispy onions that I prepared earlier. And
Yeah,
some
mine's
parsley on
cooking
top
really
as your
good.
little...
And I think the difference with the indirect, just to sort of come back to that, the difference between the direct and indirect, because I'm cooking directly over the flames, I've got 50% of the heat. So when you've got a lid for a barbecue, you've got a convection oven, if you like. So yours were like well in the 70s, 80s, weren't they? So they're already cooked, the skin's crisping up, they're looking really good. And then because we've got, I mean, it's a little windy today, but don't forget, as soon as it's come off here, this top is cooling a little bit. So this is a much slower way to cook, if you like. So what we're going to continue to do is just keep flipping them, keep checking them, and just making sure that they're all probably thoroughly cooked. And I think we're almost there.
Yeah.
All right. So Michelle, so tell us, I mean, Island Social Club, I mean, what was it like? Paint the picture for us back in the day. Who would come?
Do you know what? It was like people would travel, which is what I always find really special when people want to make the effort for your food. But we also had some locals because there was a very good Scotchy margarita that was pretty popular. That definitely
A Scotch bonnet margarita?
Yeah, I know. Now we'll chat. Yeah, we'll chat.
Yeah. Yeah, can we have a demo of that next?
I
mean, how would you cook a Scotch bonnet margarita? Sounds delicious.
maybe next year's sample.
Yeah. And so you just created a whole vibe. Did you have music?
There was music, curated playlists. We had a Solange listening party, of course.
A Solange listening party. Now you're talking.
We didn't actually really, but we just loved that album, so played it all the
Destiny's
time.
Child, if anybody wasn't aware who Solange was. Right, so I'm going to bring mine off as well and just keep that cooking
I'm just
a
letting
little
the
bit.
skin get a little bit crispier on some of those.
Yeah, lovely. So yeah, you can just go directly onto the other side, Michelle, if you wanted to, like in terms of the direct and indirect. So you could just go, I mean, but you'll have to keep an eye on it though, it's going to go. So you could just put the skin a little bit there, but you can leave the lid open for that. It's going to get hot.
I'm going to watch it.
There we go, flip it towards you, perfect. There we go. So yeah, so you'd have music, there'd be a party, there'd be food.
We would sometimes host parties. I'm definitely always down for a party. And it was just, I don't know, I suppose it's like you're going somewhere where you were experiencing a restaurant, but also somewhere where you could imagine that like you just hang out with your friends, like as if you're going to someone's house, but it's just very well curated. You know what I mean? Like that was the kind of energy, which I also do it for my like supper clubs and events too.
Yeah, and I like that the bridging of the gap between like a fairly bare bones takeaway and then somewhere really high end. So this was like elevating Caribbean and Jamaican food
I'm not
in
a fan
way.
of that word.
Oh right, God, there we go. It was going so well.
Yeah,
until I said elevating. There we go.
No, only because I think it can kind of give.
It sounds too much. It's pretentious. You think?
Just a touch.
Yeah,
but
so
it is essentially that. Yeah. But it's kind of just. I think sometimes the expectation is it's being presented in other forms. When it's not that, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
Whereas actually this is about kind of all options have a place. It's just this specific one was kind of bringing a different vibe where you got to kind of...
Yeah, and did you have many people working for you? Were you employed by many people?
Oh, a few, yeah.
Yeah,
it was good. It was a really good.
It takes a village.
It does take a village,
doesn't it?
You're only as good as your KP. That's basically what I always like to say.
Yeah, that's very true.
Exactly.
Very true. I mean, this chicken, that glaze, Marie, is just making this look incredible.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, it's just really caramelizing. Because I think when you put sugars in glazes, you've kind of really got to watch it a little bit that it doesn't, go too far. But this is just looking absolutely beautiful. And so, tell me, like, the book Kin, you said it was, would it be right to describe it almost like as a love letter to your mum and your brother, if you like?
100%,
For all of those sort of years that you spent cooking together, eating together?
I think it's also a love letter to all the people that have influenced me in general. Like, so many of the recipes are centered around, like, other Caribbean friends and family places I've gone to. And just like honouring those that came before. Like it's massively about kind of all of those things. That's why.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Exactly.
Isn't that lovely? Yeah, I love that. And I think that's it. We do have a job, I think, as chefs to honour the past, but also have a foot in the future as well.
Yeah, make it your own.
You know, and I think, you know, we tell you about ingredients, we tell you about different cooking styles, and I think it's always good to know that nothing's really original.
Yeah.
What we're doing is we're taking inspiration from...
And we're like doing it in
exactly, in our own way, which
Yeah.
I mean, the book sounds amazing. It
Thank
sounds
you.
really inspiring, and I'd love to read it. Your chicken looks amazing. Okay, yeah, all right, okay. If it was a competition, you win.
Yours was pretty good too, to be honest.
There we go. Okay, so this is nearly cooked down. So tell me about this dish then. What's the inspiration of this really lovely chicken dish? And you've
This
got
is
some,
based
some
around,
crispy. Oh my God, they look. It looks like bhaji. Oh yeah.
I made it earlier. It's based around a Dominican dish, actually, which is called mountain chicken, which actually is a frog.
So mountain chicken's a frog?
It was when I was doing research, there is another dish which is actually more closely related to it. But when I was originally doing research, I wanted to do that, and then I found a recipe that was kind of based, like, had more of this influence. And it actually wasn't the mountain chicken. That's kind of more herby and a little bit of buttery and stuff, and that is in the book. It's got frog's legs.
Do you know Americans, like, you sometimes get tuna in a can, and to try and sell it to the American people, they call it chicken of the sea. So it sounds a bit like your mountain frog situation.
I forget about that.
Yeah. And so this dish is based on that.
A Dominican recipe, yeah.
And then, I mean, so you're really everywhere in terms of like your influences and where you're drawing inspiration
Yeah,
from.
the majority of the book is Jamaican because that's my heritage, but there's like pockets of Cuba.
Whoop.
Pockets of Cuba, thank you. Pockets of Cuba, Dominica, a little bit of Trinidad and Tobago, and then the next book is going to be far more like Dominican, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago.
I was going to say, I can't wait for this next book, if this is how you're starting.
I know.
Because it just, I mean, because I think for me as a chef, I mean, I don't know too much about that cuisine, you know. We're looking to people like you to write it down and document it for us, and then maybe like pull similes as to like, oh, I've seen that ingredient before, or that dish from my... So roti, I would think is Indian.
That's the thing, but like you have seen it before. I think that's most of the time you probably would have seen this food in some capacity because the influences are so vast. It's basically like that's what I want people to be excited about, is to know that it isn't a cuisine that you should be scared of. It's definitely one to just like delve into. And also the book is a framework. It's like very much about me kind of giving you like information and some of the tools, and then you going and making the dishes your own.
Yeah.
Like it's very much, it's not me being like, I'm an authority and only my version is right or whatever.
I love a chef like that though, you know, because we often say like a cookbook is guidance.
Yeah.
Recipes are a guide, you know, and that's how you should interpret it.
Yeah. I know that you can adjust it based on seasonality, what you have available here. Like, we're not always going to get the same things. I don't know where you're all based, but, like, in London, I realise we're very spoilt for ingredients. But even, like, friends I've got in Brighton can't get the same things, and that's literally just down the road, you know what I mean? Like, it's very much about kind of being like, oh, okay, this kind of has that profile, and I give you bits of information, and you can then... adapt it, I suppose, based on like where your locale is.
Yeah, I mean, it just sounds amazing. Well, this looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to chop some
I feel like I'm having
first.
a little flavour of your supper clubs and of you. It just looks incredible. Oh, perfectly cooked. Oh, that's one of Michelle's. She used the thermos pan. All right, Marie, this looks incredible. Really good. So we're just going to serve it with a little bit of the...
crispy onion.
With the crispy onion and a little bit of fresh parsley.
Yeah.
That looks absolutely amazing. Well, you know, our demo is drawing to a close. I've thoroughly loved talking to you. I'm so excited. I've got to get your book now.
Please do.
Anybody else going to get the book? I mean, it sounds good, right?
Feel free to.
Sounds amazing.
Support authors.
Yes. Support authors, independent bookshops.
And I'm not going to judge you if you get it from Amazon, all right?
Well, you know, that's what we're all going to do, don't you? No, I live in a tiny town with no independent bookshops.
Look, they do next day delivery.
Yes, there we go. There we go. And we can find you at supper clubs.
Supper clubs, pop-ups. I am working on something more.
Marie _ Mitchell _
Yeah.
But 2 underscores, because one isn't good enough for the Caribbean Queen over here. And then we can just come and find you in East London, North London,
East
South
or
London.
South.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, I've not ventured to North.
All right, well, I hope you've enjoyed that as much as I have. An absolute inspiration.
Thank
I love
you for coming.
And we're going to eat some chicken now. Everybody wants to try this chicken, don't we? Go on, put your hands together for Marie Mitchell! Beautiful.